I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a platform that Internet2 Indiana and Stanford are working on together called the NDDI OS3E platform. I'm going to start out just quickly talking about the Internet2 community and give you some grounding in the way we think about a national innovation platform and what's important for this next phase of innovation. Internet2 was founded by 34 universities at the time that the internet was privatized to create a new sandbox for the next generation of innovation. We've been focusing for the last 13 years mainly on bigger networks. And we're extremely excited because SDN provides the opportunity not only for us to build bigger networks, but to build much smarter networks, and networks that we can program and turn into things that we want them to be and that our members want them to be. I would say that this whole talk only works if you accept the fact that when I say we have done, we have achieved, in talking about some of the things historically we've done in innovation platforms like this, that you're part of the we. This is a community of folks that certainly includes academia, but Internet2 has 40 corporate members, 11 of them are in this room today, and there's just a huge amount of collaboration that happens between academia and the corporate world. And in fact, many of these companies started their internet businesses based on activities that they had going on campuses and labs throughout the country. Just real quickly, in terms of Internet2 and who we are, we do run a network in addition to being a network of people. We're just completing or in the process of completing a new stimulus-funded national network. It's got 17,500 miles of community-owned dark fiber. We're lighting that with an 8.8 terabit optical system. We've got a whole bunch of different things that layer on top of that. Probably the most interesting one for this audience is that we're committed to build a 40-plus node national SDN-based network that will be based on 1040 and 100 gigabit wavelengths. And that's an opportunity that all of us, we, have for innovation and testbed capabilities. I should mention in there that there's some partners, NSF, Genie, Indiana University, Stanford, Department of Energy's ESNet, NOAA, who all also collaborate in that. So what is this research and education community thing? You all have heard some talk about, is this thing really, or is this SDN OpenFlow thing really a research project, or is it ready for production? And my own take is it's both. The research and education community is going to be focused on problems a little farther out than some of the ones that we can actually implement today for production activities. And Internet2 is in a place in the middle, where we want to provide the platform for folks to innovate. Internet2's, it's a community of thinkers, some of them in this room, some from academia elsewhere, and others around the world who work on advanced networking problems. As a community, we create markets. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit before Matt talks about the new platform we're going to create to hopefully create some new market. Our history is one where we've taken the best ideas, we've given them a large-scale prototype environment so that they can flourish in the time before they made sense commercially. And that's what we're going to try and do again. So to go backwards a little bit, the research and education community has been at the center of most of the modern internet development and applications, and we think it's really, have been transformative to the information technology culture of the 20th and 21st century. This is an ongoing story. It's not simply historical. It's not simply that the first routers were developed here at Stanford and became Cisco, and then R&E got out of this. If you look at all the things that have happened over the last 20, 25 years, most of them have started in this community of innovation that crosses between the corporate world and the research and education community. If you look at the return on investment on the federal project known as the NSFNet and ARPANET, and some of you were clearly part of that, that $225 million has turned into a $240 billion per year market. It's an incredible statistic. The commercial internet, the first 3 or 4 major internet providers, ANS, created by Merit Network, Research and Education Network in Michigan, Center for Seismic Studies in Northern Virginia created UUNet, NYSERNet created PSINet. All of those evolved into much bigger companies that we all know today. World Wide Web and browsers, early commercial sites were clearly from the R&E community. The Mosaic browser was designed to visualize data from CERN, the super collider in Switzerland. And the first web server was here at Stanford SLAC in the US. reality was that in a time of proprietary networks, this thing had all the mass in it. It's where all the area of interest was and where things started to happen. And it became the de facto standard because it's where the action was. It's where people wanted to collaborate. It's also a platform that many people argued, many people who now have big companies built on internet technologies argued wouldn't work. And that's part of, again, having an innovation platform and having a place where people can try things that may not work. Thousands of people can try things that may not work so that one or two of them can succeed. A history of some of the, Stanford actually comes out pretty well on this list. Sun Microsystems from Stanford, BSD from Berkeley, Cisco, again from Stanford, Akamai from MIT, Arbor Networks from University of Michigan, Harvard from, Facebook from Harvard, Google again from Stanford. All of these companies had their roots in this research and education community. You look at the first few, they're hardware ideas. And then it starts to move up the stack over the years. It's kind of fascinating. You start out with the hardware, you go to some of the middleware on the network, and then you see something like Facebook happen in an era where people at home were working with 28.8 dial-up modems. Dorm rooms, which had maybe a couple of 100 megabit connections per dorm room, were way out in front of what was available in the commercial sector. Create an opportunity for someone who's mad at his girlfriend to create a company that changes politics around the world. That's what an innovation platform is really about. So you can look at the whole ecosystem of everything we do in this room is evolving from the research and education community and the innovation platform that existed 35 years ago when much of the internet was open source or was freely created among collaborators who just wanted to get things done. And I think that's part of the opportunity we want to talk about today. I think it's fair to say that whole new markets have been driven and created from the innovation in the R&E networking community. And there are companies that have reinvented themselves. There are companies that originally fought the idea of this packet stuff and this IP stuff who have reinvented themselves, and now it's their core business. There are new disruptive things that have happened. There are some companies that have gone away. But all of this has happened in an environment where we've continued to lead ideas about bandwidth availability instead of scarcity, where we've continued to talk about moving from proprietary to open. And we think there's still a need for this kind of incubation capability. And we're going to talk about a platform that we're creating for SDN that we hope will allow all of you and all of us as collaborators to continue that trend. A couple things about going forward. Obviously, people say, well, what are people going to use this for? I don't know. What I know is that if we create the capacity for innovation like we have in the past, we get it widely dispersed. NSF is working on a project to connect 100 campuses with SDN-type capabilities. We have regional networks throughout the country that are deploying SDN. We get a widely deployed base. You get this into places like dorm rooms and labs. You get it into corporate partners. And you just let people play. The capabilities that we all see in SDN are going to turn into something wild. And so, again, that's kind of the platform that we hope to create. Internet2 is making a major investment in this. And Matt's going to talk a little bit about what we're going to actually do.
Great. Thanks, Norm.